So, hi everyone, my name's Arsh Ellahi, and today what we're covering is a topic which is quite a popular topic. We've got multiple hundreds of people on the webinar. We're also live on Instagram, we're also live on Facebook, we're also live on YouTube. So we're pretty much live across many platforms. So first of all, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, please say hello, give us a little thumbs up. So give us a wave. So excuse me. I'm going to apologise because I've got a bit of a nasty cough, but we're going to move forward. So, like I say, today's session is called "How to Find Below Market Value Properties" and how Arsh acquired a property for £1. Now, crazy subject, crazy title, but the fact is, it actually happened. And tonight, I'm going to show you the exact property, where we found it, how we negotiated it, how we did the deal, and how I managed to acquire it for £1. So let's get moving forward. So if you can, if you're on the webinar, just give me a quick hello. Let me know that you can hear me nice and loudly clearly. And let's get moving forward. Sorry, I will, hopefully the cough will get better throughout the session. So first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for trusting me with your time this evening. I appreciate it's Bank Holiday Sunday. I appreciate there's lots of other things that we can do. I appreciate that time is the most precious commodity. And I guarantee that this is going to be the best investment that you make. So in 90 minutes, what we're going to be covering: how to find below market value properties, how to appraise properties and how to add value. We're going to be looking at how Arsh acquired Tincroft, which is the name property, for simply £1. And finally, how to get started with no money and no experience. So if you're in the right place, give me a quick thumbs up, give me a quick wave. And if you're on the webinar, just say, looking forward to it, or yes, I'm definitely in the right place. So everyone's saying hi on the webinar, everyone's saying hi, so fantastic, we're in the right place. So why should you listen to me? Who is Arsh? What is Arsh all about? First of all, I'm a best-selling author of a book called Boom, Bust and Back Again. And as the title suggests, property's never always been an easy journey for me. I've seen some good times in the boom. I've seen some bad times almost in the bust. And I'm back again to tell the tale. So I'm not one of these guys that's possibly just gone on a training session and next week they're running a course. I've actually been doing this for 20 years. So you can say I'm a bit of a property veteran. So I'm a monthly columnist of two very well-known property magazines in the UK. So we've got Your Property Network magazine and the HMO magazine. And I started a deal trading business at the age of 20 on a shoestring budget and managed to make multiple £1 million worth of profit in just under 3 years. And I'm a property investment trainer. I'm a mentor who's helped hundreds of people achieve financial freedom. But one thing I do want to say, and I said this earlier, first and foremost, I am a property investor. I've got near enough 1,100 tenants. So, I've been doing this a long time. I've got lots of credentials. I've got the scars. I've got the war wounds to show you that I've been there and I've done it. And as a result, I've got the authority to talk to you about it. And just to show that we're still active, in 2017, purchased pretty much 50 properties for my own portfolio. 2018, went off and purchased another 20 for my own portfolio. And then 2019, we're actually developing properties at the moment. So if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, you may see some of the lives that we do, where I take us round the development, see where we are at the moment, and the progress. So at the moment, on one of them that we're doing, a block of 6 flats, 5 flats pretty much complete. We're now going down into the basement, and this is a new realm because it's a Grade 2 listed building. We've got lots of issues with the building. We now have to go to tanking and damp proofing and damp membraning. So I'm learning. Well, I'm not learning along the way because I've done this quite a few times, but I always find when we go down into basements, we're digging down and creating a new floor, that it can be quite troublesome. Apologies, I do apologise for the cough. So first of all, one thing I want to ask you guys is, what are your property goals for 2019? And these could be anything. These could be family related. These could be personal. These could be monetary. So is it that you want to quit your job? Is it that you want to make property pay for such luxuries such as holidays, cars, accessories? Could it be that you want it to help your kids get onto a property ladder? Could it be that you want to help your kids through university? And the list could go on. So if you're listening, if you wouldn't mind, can you just spend a minute there? Just, if you can, write down what's your property goals for 2019. Now, I'm conscious that we're pretty much 5 months in, or near enough halfway through the year. So in that respect, the second question that I'm going to ask is that the goals that you set yourself in January 2019, how do they differ now to the goals that you set yourself in May/June 2019, pretty much halfway through the year? Have you progressed as far as you would have liked to? Are you slightly behind schedule? And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, if you are, because you may have come across a few hiccups, a few bumps along the way. And tonight's session, hopefully, will help you progress further. So just having a quick look at some of the questions. So Pankaj says, I want to quit my job. Mike says, I want to start off with 2 HMOs by the end of the year. Fantastic goal. Nasir says he wants financial freedom. So these are the kind of things. So Nikki says she wants to add a property a month so I can become financially free. Now, guys, just so that you know, everything that you've said is completely doable. So hi Mandy, hi Ammon. I've got lots of people watching. So Dave says he's a little bit behind. He's got 2 flips on, but he's a little bit behind on this project. You know what? We put so much pressure on ourselves, and I, for one, I'm the most guilty of that. I've got high expectations. I've got high goals. I've got high levels of achievement. And sometimes I'm a bit too tough on myself. And I actually questioned this myself yesterday. I've achieved a lot in property within a very short space of time. But yet I still beat myself up because I go onto this thing called social media and I see other people doing great things. So I'm thinking, maybe in actual fact, I should be doing that too. Or why haven't I not done that? Or they've only started last week or last year, and yet they've done this. Should I be further than that? So these are the questions that go in my mind. And if Bill, feel free, this is almost like a mini session where you can be open and frank with me. So in that respect, if there's a question that you want to ask, feel free to ask away. So what does success look like to you? Is it a monetary figure? Do you want £3,000 a month, £5,000 a month, £10,000 a month or more? The most question is, the most important question, should I say, is that it's all very well saying that you're going to want £3,000, £5,000 or £10,000, but what are you going to do to get there? So it's great having a goal. What's the strategy to get us there? So I've just got on the screen now. Unfortunately, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, you're not going to be able to see the screen that I've got now. So there's things that you can create your goals, then you've got lots of mini goals and sub goals. So for argument's sake, on the screen it says a goal is to apply and get into a starter league beginner class. So this is something that I found on the internet, by the way. This is not something that I've created. And then the mini goal could be start researching how to get onto the program. And then also the lots of mini goals in between is start researching the goal to get a better sense of the program and the teachers, start reaching out to some of the people and the mentors, start checking out the social media channels and the profiles, how to start reading up on the articles, and do some research on other programs to see if there's anything better out there. So does that kind of make sense? Sometimes we say, I want to get to financial freedom, but what does financial freedom look like? Because financial freedom differs from everyone else. So hi Riyadh. So we've got lots of people watching online. Nath, hi. So we've got Nath on Facebook. We've got Riyadh on Instagram. We've got loads of people on the webinar. So goals differ for every single person. So my goal is very simple. I want to get to the age of 45 and I want to retire. I want to become completely, when I say financially free, completely debt free. So I'll own a whole property portfolio completely unencumbered. So that's my goal. So I've got lots of mini goals to get me to that goal. So in that respect, we need to start creating a plan and an action plan. So let's talk about beliefs and actions. Our beliefs shape our actions. If we believe it's impossible to find deals, then we're likely to act in a way that confirms this. If we believe it's impossible to find deals, then our actions will prove we can. Tonight, I'm going to prove to you that we can find deals direct to any owner in any town from the comfort of your own home. So taking action, it's all very well talking about it, but if we don't do anything about it, everything that we've talked about is kind of pointless and irrelevant. So hi Mas. So it's only action that will transform the quality of your life. Tonight, I'm going to show you a sourcing technique that you can use tomorrow. But don't let a fear of failure or a fear of success stop you from grabbing the success that you deserve. But with a big enough why, you can overcome anyhow. Now, I'm going to give you a few personal examples here. So my why is very well documented. I've got a very young family, so I've got two very young daughters who are 5 and 4. And if you're watching the webinar, you can see them on screen now. So that's my why. I'm doing it all so that I can leave it for them. So I make cash flow in the meanwhile, that allows me to live and have a life of my dreams. But ultimately, I want to leave a massive portfolio of property so that these girls can inherit or take on when I decide to retire, and that's their future sorted. So that's my reason why. Now, my question to you guys, whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're watching on Instagram, or whether you're watching on the webinar, my question to you guys is, how badly do you want it? How badly do you want to succeed? Because for me, if I was to tell you how badly I want to succeed, it's to a point where I'll be prepared to do anything and everything to get there. Now, one of the examples that I'm going to use, London 2018, I randomly entered myself, 2018, I randomly entered myself into the London Marathon. First time of ever trying, I thought, I'm never going to get in. Little did I know, I got an email saying, congratulations, you're in. On the first attempt, so I felt really lucky. I felt extremely privileged. And some of you guys might be thinking, bloody hell, this guy is baffling on. But don't worry, there's a method to my madness. So got in onto the London Marathon 2018. So my first goal is that I need to complete it. But what do we do? How badly do you want it? And this is a real question, because in order for me to complete the London Marathon, yes, I had to run 26.2 miles. But in order for me to achieve and complete the 26.2 miles, I actually had to run in excess of 1,000 miles of training to reach this pinnacle point. Does that kind of make sense? So yes, the goal was run 26.2 miles, but in order to do it well, there was lots of training that went in the background. And yes, there were times where it was tough. Yes, there were times where I wanted to quit. But the fact is that I ran in excess of 1,000 miles to achieve the pinnacle point of completing the London Marathon. Because what I believe is mind over matter. Your body can stand almost anything. It's your mind that you have to convince. And tonight's session, believe it or not, it's not only talking about acquiring property, it's a mindset session as well. So let's get this straight. Have you heard these sayings, or have people said this to you? Deals do not exist in my area. No one's going to sell me their property below market value. Why would someone give me their property for me to make all the cash flow? It doesn't make sense. Now, guys, can you, if you can, just if you're on social media, if you're watching on the webinar, does that kind of resonate with you? Have you heard these sayings? that deals do not exist in my area, especially, believe it or not, even if we're in London, that people say that, you know what, deals do not exist in my area. I'm going to show you deals in London tonight. No one will sell me their property below market value in London. Why would someone give me their property? So, have you heard these? That the fact that it doesn't make sense. Why would someone give me their property at a discount so that they can then go and profit from it? So we're going to look at this, and I'm going to show you loads of examples in London of properties that we've bought below market value, negotiated below market value, and sold them. Now, I'm going to throw out straight away, I'm going to throw out a challenge. So there's a challenge that I run twice a year. It's called, say, hi Rav, hi, so a few guys that join me online. So I'm going to throw a challenge straight out there. I normally do twice a year. I open it up twice a year. It's the 30 deals in 30 days challenge. The challenge actually starts on Monday, the 3rd of June. So we've got 4 weeks to think about whether this is right for us, how we're going to make it work, and are you wanting to get involved? Because this is really for those that are really hungry and want to succeed in property. There's going to be some stuff that you're going to do. There's going to be some stuff that you need to do, even though you don't want to do. But for those that wanted to succeed, I'm prepared to throw you into a challenge that's called 30 deals in 30 days. And that's how confident I am that what we're going to be talking about tonight works, because I do this on a day-to-day basis. It's not something that I thought of in my sleep. I think maybe it will work. This is stuff that I do on a day-to-day basis. And the reason why you guys know that I do it on a day-to-day basis is probably because you guys actually see emails from me on a day-to-day basis with new property deals going live to your inbox. So let's quickly get through the basics. So that's a bit of an introduction as to who I am, what I'm all about, and a bit about mindset. So what is deal trading? Very simply, the way that I like to define it is it's like a matchmaking service. You bring together the buyers and sellers that would never find each other and give them a safe and simple way to do business. The way that I like to define it even simpler, because I'm a simple guy, is that we're pretty much like a glorified estate agent, but we do deals, or we do things much quicker, and the opportunity to work nationally to make a lot more money. Now, estate agents, let's just imagine that the estate agent in Wolverhampton, what's the chances of them wanting to go and do a deal in Grimsby, or a deal in Hull, or a deal in London, or a deal in Scotland, or a deal in Bournemouth? Chances are they're going to say, sorry, our patch is Wolverhampton, we're only going to concentrate on Wolverhampton. But in actual fact, as a deal trader, as a deal sourcer, deal packager, depends what you want to call yourself. There's lots of terminologies for it, but guess what, guys? It actually all means the same thing. So in essence, I'm going to call ourselves deal traders just for tonight. It's a service that helps homeowners that have potentially previously been let down by either other buyers or estate agents. And it's a service that helps other property investors too. Now, I've just got a bit of a graphic that I created today. It's what is deal trading. So pretty much what we're doing today, or what we're talking about today, is not anything new. Because I'm going to define, in essence, like I said, we're a glorified estate agent because we negotiate a deal with the owner, which in this case is a broker. Now, us as the agent or the trader in the centre is in control of that transaction. And as a result, we negotiate the deal and then we package it up and we sell it on to an investor, who in essence is the buyer. So we are a traditional method in that respect, and let's start pretty much from the beginning. So I'm a big believer that property success starts with every strategy begins with sourcing. Whether you're looking to build your own portfolio, whether you want to trade deals, all the roads start and begin with sourcing. Your own portfolio, finding the right property with the right rental demand in the right location. Developments all start with finding the right piece of land in the right location at the right price. Remember, the block of flats that you see today did not magically appear as a block of flats. Someone had to acquire that land. Someone had to have the vision. Where did they get that land from? Was it off a land? Were they direct to owner? Did they get it off an agent? Someone somewhere has sourced that land. And as a result, they put it in front of an investor or a developer. And as a result, they've seen that vision and they've gone off and built that block of flats. But someone somewhere has sourced it. And as a result, that's the end product. The end product is the block of flats. So what actually determines is a good deal? Now, this is the real important part. And one of the questions that I'm going to put up there is, why is being a deal sourcer or a deal trader such an important skill to have? Now, first of all, there's lots of people. So we've got hundreds of people over all the platforms watching this webinar right now. How else would a property investor in London get to know about a great deal that you have in Manchester without the deal sourcer? How else would agents be able to sell their hard to sell properties? Now, you've got to remember that as investors, we actually take calculated risks. And we will buy the properties that some homeowners won't. The ones that have got the crack down the wall, the ones that have got the mining issues, the ones that have got the blighted titles. Investors take calculated risks, unlike homeowners who are simply after somewhere to live. So we have a purpose within this marketplace. How would distressed sellers be able to solve their problems without problem solvers like us? And I use the word and the terminology problem solvers quite openly throughout the whole process, because we are problem solvers. Now, what I like deal trading, very simply, is the fact that it gives us freedom. Now, if you're a landlord, if you've got investment properties, now hopefully you'll resonate with me on this, because there have been times where you may have been called out to the property late at night because the tenant smashed the window, or they've got a broken tap, or they've got a broken toilet, or they've got nuisance tenants, or they've got nuisance neighbours, or if it's a HMO that someone's borrowed their milk. And sometimes you may get called out and you think, bloody heck, okay, I got involved in property to actually become completely hands off. And here I am at 2 o'clock in the morning going around to meet a police officer threatening to kick the door in. So if does that resonate with you? Has anyone been in that situation? Because believe it or not, that happens a hell of a lot. So the reason why I like deal trading simply is because when we source and we package a property, we're not owning it. We don't own it. All we're doing is we're simply controlling it. And as a result of simply controlling it, that means that we're not dealing with tenants. We're dealing with sophisticated investors. We've got solicitors and people on board, and we're not doing any management. So once the property's sold, we literally move on to the next one. Or once the property has been negotiated, we move on to the next one, we move on to the next one. We don't deal with management, we don't deal with maintenance, all that stuff. So it pretty much very much is a hands-free process. More importantly, you can pick it up and you can drop it whenever you like. When we say that, very simply, is if you decide that you want to go on holiday that month, you just don't source any properties that month. You can scale, and I'm going to be talking about how you can scale deal sourcing shortly. Now, one of the questions that I'm going to ask is that I get some people talk to me and say, Arsh, okay, we see your properties that come out, and they're all over the country. Okay, but why can't you just focus on London? Now, you've got to remember, London's a great place. I've been in London all weekend, so it's a great place to be. However, the way that I see it is that London is a pond and the UK is a sea. I'd rather go fishing in the sea where there's a lot more fish and a lot more to catch than in a small area where there's a pond. And you've got to remember, there'll be certain areas where the figures may not stack up, and it may be a little bit more difficult to pull a deal out as in if you were looking all over the country. Does that kind of make sense? Now, as a deal sourcer, one of the great things that I'm going to say to you is that you don't actually have to go and visit every property. In actual fact, it's very rare that I actually go and visit a property. So I can negotiate a deal all over the country, and I don't physically have to go and see it. Believe it or not, there's services out there that will actually go and do viewings for you, and they can create videos for you, and they can do everything for you. But again, this is part of the process. So the three basic things of deal trading, there's three people involved in it. First one is the vendor. That's the person that owns the property, who hopefully approaches you with the property. Let's just use an example. So we've got Ian online. So the vendor approaches Ian, says, "Hi Ian, I've seen your advert, or you wrote me a letter, or I've seen you online, etc., etc. And I see that you buy properties. Would you be interested in buying mine?" Now, Ian may then go over or speak to the vendor and assess his property, go over, have a look at it, potentially have a chat with him. He will then assess the deal, the potential angle, the potential profitability, and if there's a deal to be done, then package it. So Ian is the broker or the packager in this respect, or the trader. Now, the final piece of the jigsaw is very much a case of once Ian has negotiated the deal, he's got two options. He can either retain it for his own portfolio. He might think, you know what, this is a really good deal. I really like this, so I'm going to keep it for myself. Or he may turn around and say, you know what, I like it, but at the moment I just don't have the funds for it. And as a result, I'm going to just literally, instead of not doing anything with the lead, I'm literally going to pass it on and make a fee from it. And that's what deal sourcing is monetizing the leads. And believe it or not, if you've got a bit of knowledge about all the strategies, remember, there's not just one strategy. There's no longer just the buy-to-let strategy. We've got HMO strategy, we've got rent to rent, we've got rent to service accommodation, we've got commercial to residential, we've got development opportunities, we've got lease options. There's so many different ways that we can look at a property now and say, okay, does it tick this box, yes or no? If it doesn't, okay, could we do it this way? And every way you should be able to have a look at every property and say, you know what, there's something that we can do with this. And that's the position that you want to be in property. So in that respect, let's just say that Ian now, he says, you know what, I haven't got the funds for this property, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to package it and sell it on to someone else. So he then sells it onto an investor, and the investor buys the property from you on the basis that the property makes financial and commercial sense. So if you do, I'm assuming all the people on the webinar already get all my emails confirming the kind of deals that we put out. If you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, please, if you give me a quick hey, a quick wave, etc. If you see the deals that we put out every day. So when it comes to deal trading, one of the biggest things is there's three main steps. Step one is the vendor, who's the owner. We need to understand is what is their motivation, why are they selling, where they're going, what they're doing, how they're doing it. What's the motivation? Where's the pain? Step two, how do you create a real win-win-win scenario? When we say win-win-win, remember there's got to be three wins because there's got to be a win for the vendor. It's not a case of let's just rip the vendor off and let's go. Win number two is you, the person that's putting it all together. You don't want to be running around like a busy fool, and therefore you've got to make sure that's going to be worth your while as well. And win number three is for the person that's actually going to be buying it. So the investor, because if he doesn't think it's a good deal, that property is not going to sell, which means that ultimately you're going to be stuck with a property. When I say stuck, just you've gone off and you've told a vendor that you're going to find him a buyer, and as a result of not being able to do your due diligence or make sure that it actually stacks up, you're not going to be able to find a buyer for it. So you've got to make sure that all three, and the way that I look at deal sourcing, it's almost like a jigsaw. You've got to make sure that all the pieces of the jigsaw fit together. As a deal trader, why would you trade deals? I was in a car with Jim Halliburton a couple of weeks back, and we were off to the Excel to a property exhibition. And he goes, Arsh, I still don't understand. He goes, why would you trade deals? He goes, that you get some of these amazing opportunities, 20, 30, 40, 50% below market value. He goes, why do you sell them? Why don't you keep them for yourself and build your own portfolio? Now, I could do that. And one of my strategies is that anything local to me, I will buy. Anything that's not local to me or doesn't fit my strategy, I will sell. So that's what I've got as my criteria. But the beautiful thing with deal trading is that as a deal trader, it allows me to see the deals first. I pick and choose the ones that I want. I sell the ones that I don't. You don't need any money to get started. You just need lots of determination. There is no risk because remember, you're not buying it. You're just negotiating the deal. It's fast results, which means that if you do them quickly enough, you can get deals in and out very quickly. And it's easy and quick to scale. And it's the fastest way to reach your property cash flow goals. So what is your idea of a deal? So we're getting now into what actually would constitute a deal. So is it buying something below market value? So when we talk about below market value, If something's on the market for, let's just say, £100,000, is it that you're going to be now offering circa £70,000 for it, which means that you're going to be negotiating a 30% discount? Is it that you're looking to buy a property in need of renovation so that you can add the value on the back end, the done-up value? Is it something that's already income producing? So is it a cash flowing generating machine? Is it something producing a good return on investment? When we talk on return on investment, other people may use the terminology cash on cash. So if you were to get the money out of the bank and put it into something else, what's that return going to look like? It's going to be better than what it's producing in the bank. Is it something with good potential of capital growth? And is it something that's sustainable? So pretty much there's 6 kind of points there that I put out there. And you don't literally just have to look at one of those points and think, you know what, I'm only going to find one of those kind of properties. The way that I look at it is that, why do we need to just choose one? Why don't we just look for them all? So we look at every property and we go through and say, well, in actual fact, okay, we haven't been able to buy below market value, but we can add value somewhere because this may actually become a good ROI property, or it may have good capital growth. Does that make sense? So what we're trying to do is change your mindset into not just looking for one style of property, or not looking in just one location, looking at all locations and all styles of property, and as a result seeing which ticks each box, and as a result seeing how we can monetize that lead. Just so that I know, just to make sure that everyone's awake, can you let me know whether you think this is good, whether this is resonating with you? There may be some spelling mistakes in the presentation, it is what it is, as long as you get the content. Okay, so let's keep moving forward. So who would be the best? Is this you? Now, I've got an image up on the screen. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to changes. And that was written by the great Stephen Hawking. The best deal sources, or the best deal traders, deal packages, whatever you want to call them, have been the ones that have been fluid, that have been able to adapt to change. The best deal sources, the best deal traders are the ones that have been able to have a look at an opportunity and say, you know what, I understand, or I realise the opportunity. I went in talking about this, but in actual fact, I came out with this. And they're the ones that make the most money in deal trading. Because if you go in and you're stuck with one strategy, you're almost stuck, almost like a one-trick pony. If they come out and they offer you something else, you're stuck because you don't know how to do it. And the best deal sources are the ones that adapt to the change of the scenario. Now, people are going to talk to us about, is there a script? Some traders will say that there is a script to deal sourcing. I completely disagree. And the reason why I say that is because, remember, people like doing business with other people. And as a result, no one wants to talk to a machine. Oh yes, I believe you've got a property. And then if someone asks you a question that's not within your script, guess what? You're now out of your comfort zone, which means that as a result of being out of your comfort zone, you're now going to fluff what you're going to say, which is now going to reduce the confidence in the seller, which means that chances are you're not going to get the deal done. So what we do is create bullet points of all the things, all the anchors of what we want to do to generate the call, or to make the call go in our favor. We create the anchors and we work towards them. And once we've hit one anchor, we then move on to the other. So I've got literally loads of anchors that we put through. So every phone call, and it's about building rapport. It's not about a script. It's about building rapport. Sometimes I don't even talk about the property for about 10 minutes when I speak to a vendor. I talk about everything else. Okay, so what have you done? What's your, what have you done this weekend? What have you done bank holiday? Did you have a great time? Can hear your dog barking in the background? Oh, what kind of dog is it? And all that kind of stuff. Does that kind of make sense? We don't literally go in. I've seen so many people that go in and say, oh yeah, we've seen that you've got a property online for sale. Oh yeah, by the way, if it's on the market 100 grand, what do you want for it today? Boom, no rapport building, very, very cold. As a result, deal will not be done, pretty much guaranteed. And as a result, phone call ends, deal done, dusted and dead. Does that make sense? For me, price is the last thing on my mind when I make a call. The biggest thing for me is building rapport and building the trust with the seller. So they say, you know, because let's face it, for every property that's for sale, how many people do you reckon contacts them and say, guys, you know, okay, we've seen it on the market, can you do a deal with us direct? Why do you reckon they've not gone with that person before? Because they haven't spent the time building the rapport, they haven't spent the time building the trust. As a result of not building the rapport and the trust, they don't believe in what they're going to do and what they offer. As a result of not believing in what they do and what they offer, the deal's not going to get done. So let's keep moving on. Believe it or not, there are so many ways that you can acquire properties without spending a penny on marketing. Just so you know, I haven't spent a penny on advertising for any kind of property for the best part of, where are we? In 2019, best part of 10 years. I haven't spent a penny on advertising for below market value deals, but there are lots of ways out there. You know, one of the biggest things that I'll say, I'll give this away for absolutely free, social media. There's so many deals on social media, and it's absolutely free. There's deals on estate agents. We're going to be talking about a deal on an estate agent in a sec. There's networking meetings, there's bandit boards, football grounds, supermarkets, local shops, planning registers, billboards, websites. So there's loads of different ways that you can actually source properties for completely free. You don't actually need any money to get started. Remember, you're not buying the property, which means that you don't need the money for a deposit. You don't need the money for solicitors. You don't need the money for surveyors. You don't need the money for the refurb. Some sourcing techniques are completely free. So if you're not spending any money on marketing, not spending any money on a deposit, in actual fact, what do you need? You could, if you wanted to, spend some money on marketing, and some of those are less than what we'd consider a family meal out. There's no risk, which means that you don't risk anything because there's nothing that can go wrong. If the deal doesn't sell, you know, worst case scenario, it may be a conversation that you're going to have with the vendor. Sorry, I haven't been able to find someone or allocate this deal to someone. And that's the point where you go back and renegotiate, or, you know, you just say, okay, you know, maybe it is time that you put it on with the open market and see what they can do. So there will be times where you don't sell a property. And that is being realistic. For me to sit here and say that I sell every property that I advertise is completely wrong and unethical, because there are deals that don't sell. Yeah, I like to think that we sell a very high percentage of them, but there are a few that I don't sell. And as a result, that's where I'll go back to the vendor and say, guys, okay, I've given this my best shot. We've put it out on these terms. It didn't sell, but here's what we can do. And it gives me a second shot at having a conversation with the owner. Now, I'm going to introduce you to a person which is on the screen. Unfortunately, if you're watching on Facebook and Instagram, you can't see the screen. There's a young gentleman. I talk about this guy every time we do this webinar, believe it or not, because he's a very inspirational young gent. A guy called Raheel Jakura. He's a mechanical and procurement engineer living and working in Saudi Arabia on a short-term contract. He's an expat working abroad, and he earns a large salary due to the antisocial nature of his work. Being in a foreign country away from his extended family and friends. He works brutal 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and he has to meet tight deadlines. So it's fair to say that 72 hours a week, that he doesn't get a lot of free time. His wife and two young kids are with him in Saudi, so he needs to make time for them too, and build a UK-based property business. That's his aim. So his reason why, very simply, is that he wants to break his trading time for money. He wants to create a secure financial future for his kids. He wants to have time to be with his kids and the money to support them in every way. And he's prepared to make a sacrifice now to build a better future for himself and his family. So that's his reason why. So taking all that into consideration, it's fair to say that most people think that to find below market value deals, you need to go direct to the vendor. And that is, you know, there are lots of ways to do deals. So you can go direct to vendor or you can go direct to agent. Now, Some of these strategies may be, sending out leaflets. Some of them may be like advertising in the back of the paper, advertising on lamppost boards, advertising on takeaway menus, newspaper adverts, Facebook adverts. But bear in mind that Raheel didn't have the benefit of this because living in Saudi Arabia, he didn't have any of these options available to him. Living in a foreign country, Raheel was unable to view the property or negotiate the price with the vendor. So he felt really restricted, and he wanted to only work exclusively with estate agents. So his options very simply were Rightmove, Zoopla, On the Market, Gumtree, and lots of other online property platforms. So hi Dave, talking about estate agents, Dave pops up. So hey Dave, how you are? So believe it or not, Raheel went and smashed 15 deals in 3 months just by doing that. Every deal that Raheel saw had been listed with an estate agent and found online. And Raheel physically didn't view a single property. How could he? He was in Saudi Arabia. So Raheel looks for deals across the entire country. He's with the mindset that he's not going to live in them. He's with the mindset that he isn't going to view them. So why would he limit his search to one area? Well, let's face it, he's out of the country. His area is the whole of the UK. So he searched the entire country and he focused on one region or county for a week before moving on to another area. Systematically working through all the different regions, and once he'd been through the whole region, once he'd been through the whole country, he repeated it again. Bear in mind that stock rotates weekly or monthly. So here's Raheel's first deal. I'll just put this up. So it was a property in Stoke-on-Trent. It's a 6-bed HMO producing just over 23,000 a year. And we found it that the purchase price was £140,000. We actually charged a £5,000 fee for finding that property. So it was a property on with an agent. We found that there was a few things as to how the agent didn't advertise it properly. It was full of professional tenants. It was occupied and fully managed. And we actually sold this. This was one of his first deals that he did in February 2017. So found it on Gumtree. The agent took the pictures and created the floor plan. So Raheel didn't have to visit it. The agent negotiated with the vendor. The deal was sold to my database within a day. And it was sourced and negotiated and sold from the comfort of the sofa in Saudi Arabia. Does that make sense? So Raheel joined the Elite Property Tribe, which I'll talk to you about shortly, back in 2017. He's still a member of the EPT. So since he sold his first deal on 17th of Feb for £5,000 fee. Now, since 2017, I can say that Raheel has done in excess of 30, maybe 40, maybe even 50 deals. I haven't actually counted how many deals he's done. He is a machine. This young gent is a machine, and he keeps pulling out deal after deal after deal. He's got a portfolio of 6 properties going through at the moment. We've completed one in Blackpool, I think about a week ago. We've got another portfolio going through. We've got HMO in Sunderland going through. These are all Raheel's deals. So he's always got a pipeline of properties coming through. So these are all deals that he's potentially worked on with an agent. Deal sourcing is a no excuses way to invest in property. I'm a firm believer of that, because the only barrier to entry is your determination to make a better life for yourself and your family. Your success is guaranteed if you follow a proven system and you take committed action. So they're the two things which you have to do. If you follow a proven system, so if you follow the same system that someone successful has already created, chances are that you're going to also be successful, because by following the same system and taking the same action that they've done. What does this mean? Believe it or not, one of the ways that I'm going to be talking to you about, and some of you may be thinking, well, in actual fact, I've listened to this, and all Arsh is talking about is how to deal with estate agents. Well, believe it or not, guys, estate agents will actually need your help, as houses actually don't sell themselves. Homeowners will need your help, because they may have been let down by lousy or tired or even just lazy estate agents. We have to look at what is their pain and motivation. They want to sell as many houses as possible. They want to sell houses as quickly as possible. So we have to look at the process and the reason behind what people are doing. They want to sell them as easily as possible. They want to make their commission. Does all this resonate? So you've got to remember that. How do estate agents make money? They make their money from generating commission. How do they generate the commission? They have to sell the property. Now, if they've got someone in there that's going to help them sell that property as quickly as possible with as little work as possible, then do you reckon that they're actually going to want to work with traders or sources all over the country? Absolutely. And we work with agents pretty much every day of the week. More importantly, when they have a tired property or a motivated seller, they will struggle. If they have a tired property, they'll struggle to sell it a first-time buyer. Because let's face it, if a property is tired, chances are it may not get through a mortgage application because there may be a retention on there, or maybe an issue where, let's say, if it's got no kitchen, it's got no bathroom, it won't be mortgageable anyway. So who's the only option who they can sell it to? Naturally, it would be a property investor or a cash buyer. So 2017, I actually traded 483 deals. So that's traded and completed on 483 deals. So by following this simple three-step process, and it's the same process that I used since the year 2000, so nothing's changed. But the good thing is it works in all different markets. So in the rising market 2006, in the crash of 2008, and the flat market 2010. So one thing to bear in mind is that with Brexit, we're going to see a price correction. Now, beautiful thing with deal sourcing is that we just adapt our pricing accordingly. So 2018, we didn't do as many deals as 2017. We did 358, but it was a slightly tougher market. But however, we increased the fee to accommodate the lower numbers, which means that we actually made more money from fewer properties, which means that we started to work smarter as opposed to harder. So what is the three-step process? The three-step process is source, package, and sell. Source, package, sell. So very straightforward. Step number one is, where do we find the deal? There are a number of ways to source deals. So remember, we're not just looking for one deal anymore. We're looking for below market value deals. We're looking for rent-to-rent deals. We're looking for lease option deals. We're looking for development opportunities. We're looking for commercial to residential. We're looking for service accommodation. We're looking, how many other deals are there? We're looking for land opportunities. Land with planning, land without planning. HMOs with the license, HMOs without the license. Buy-to-let, single-lets. So can you see the opportunity that we have here? So there's a number of ways of sourcing these, and you don't always have to go direct to vendor, because believe it or not, that can sometimes be hard work. And can I let you into a little secret? If you write a letter, now there are probably going to be some other deal sources or trainers watching this video on social media, and they're going to probably want to watch this actually. First of all, I'm just going to say hi. Hopefully this is something new for you. Now, one of the strategies is HMO registers. So, let's face it, that's not an uncommon strategy. So people will go to HMO register, go and write to every HMO in the area. Now, what's the chances of success on that? Because there's no way that anyone can tell you the success rate on that. So if you write 1,000 letters, what's the success rate? Are you going to get 10 letters back? Are you going to get 50 letters back? Because all in all, it actually works on a number of different factors. What happened? So are you writing out to the property that the person owns? So are you actually writing to investment property, or are you writing to the homeowner's address? All depends on the tone of the letter, what you put in the letter. When they actually pick up the letter, are they going to call you today? They're going to call you tomorrow. They're going to call you in 3 months' time. They're going to call you in a year's time. So does that mean what you do in the meanwhile? So I'm not a big fan of writing letters, because we're not in control of what, where, and when. More importantly, it can be quite costly to do that. To find out where everyone lives, that's £3 from a land registry. Plus then you've got the stamp, plus you've got the letter, plus you've got time. So every letter is going to cost you approximately £5 to send out. Now, if there's 1,000 letters there, that's going to cost you £5. And if you don't get a deal off it, or the deal will, let's face it, you will get a deal out of it. Question is when. It may be a year. I've still got people calling me from my adverts that we put out many years ago. That's just purely down to the quality of the advert that we put out. It was catchy. It had a good feel-good factor. We used to do lots of testimonial-based advertising, and it was always based around the feel-good factor, and it works really well. So Will says, is this a real webinar? Yes, it is. Okay. So Will, some of your questions I will be answering, Will. So we look at estate agents, we look at letting agents, we look at auctions, we look at online platforms, we look at other sources and their properties, and we go direct to the vendor. So these are all the different ways that you can find deals. Now, believe it or not, 90% of the properties sold in the UK through estate agents, and they can actually become your unsold sales force. They need your help shifting tired properties that don't appeal to first-time buyers. Once you earn their trust, they'll call you before anyone else, and before they actually have it advertised. So believe it or not, one of the guys that was actually previously just watching this webinar a second ago, he's actually an agent that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, and he'll call me and say, oh, okay, I've got this property, it's coming in, you know, is there something that you can do with it? Because he wants to earn his commission quickly, he wants to do a deal quickly, and he knows that we're going to be able to turn it around quickly. So there are lots of ways to go direct to the owner. So it could be leaflets, sending out postcards, sending out postcarding in shop windows. Aging is all about newspapers, gathering old newspapers, doing a JV, joint venture with the window cleaner, as well as other tradespeople. Death certificate folder, letter series, takeaway menus, bus adverts. These all cost money. And it's a case of, do you want to speculate that money in marketing, or would you prefer methods where you can do it absolutely for free? So if I was to give you two options, pay for marketing, free advertising, or free deals, literally just what it is, it's going to take a phone call to do. So I'd like to think that, you know, I'll tell you what, yeah, let's make a bit of a poll. So if this is a question, if I gave you two options, you've got to spend £5 on getting these letters out, or you've got to spend a couple of days making some phone calls. Which ones would you prefer to do? Now, just bear in mind, guys, that, you know, sometimes phone calls is not always for everyone. Some people can be shy. Some people sometimes get their words jumbled. They maybe not be as confident on the phone to start with, but this is actually a very good skill to have. This is actually a very good skill to have. So if you're not confident on the phone, maybe this could be the start of something new for you. And the reason why I say that is very simple. It's because the more confident you become on the phone, the more confident you become with your product and what you're offering, the more confident you become with your product and your offering, the better you become at your negotiation. The better you become at your negotiation, the more deals you do. The more deals you do, the more money you make. The more money you make, the better your life becomes. Does that make sense? So let's keep moving on. So I'm going to break down a myth about property. We've already gone through this slightly. Believe it or not, just trying to think the best way to put this. Believe it or not, when you negotiate with a vendor, price is not always the most important factor. And so many people get this wrong. Remember, we talked about building rapport earlier and understanding what you know, building rapport. Sometimes we won't even talk about price for the first 10 minutes of the phone call. For me, it's not about the money. So more importantly, I don't want the vendor to think, in actual fact, if the house is worth 100,000, all of a sudden they're going to think that as a trader or a property or an investor, they're going to think that I'm going to go and offer them approximately half of their value. Now, one of my negotiation tactics is, in actual fact, say to them, guys, you know what, to be fair, I can actually potentially offer you the full market value for your property, but I need to know a little bit more information, which then puts them at ease, because straight away they know that I'm not going to offer them 50 grand. There's so many different methods. So I like to build rapport. I like to understand what is the reason for them moving. Why are they selling? Are they upsizing? Are they downsizing? Are they moving to be closer to their family? Is it that they've got a new job, maybe perhaps in a different part of the country? In actual fact, a different country. I'm going to talk to you about a different country in a minute. Have they lost their job? Are they now in financial hardship? Have they taken the property on in probate? So someone passed away and has it been inherited? Is it because they're in debt? Is it because that they've got some marital issues? Are they going through a divorce? And some of these things may actually resonate with you guys. So think about it, and there's no shame if you're going through some relationship issues. And one of the things that's tying you together between you and your wife is the property. Is it then thinking, well, in actual fact, let's just get rid of the house? Someone said, you know what, the house is worth 100 grand, but in actual fact, we can do a deal today at, let's say, 80, and we can conclude the matter. Would that help you? Believe it or not, we get lots of scenarios like that. So divorce is actually a big one. Debt and financial hardship is actually becoming quite rare. So we get lots of probate cases, we get lots of people that are upscaling, downscaling, we get lots of people where the parents, all the children flock the nest, the house is far too big. So these are all different scenarios. So price is not the main factor. The main factor is understanding the scenario as to why they're selling in the first place. Does that make sense? So, okay, so here's the property that Arsh acquired for £1. So someone called me and they said, Arsh, we've seen you on the internet. We understand that you're a deal property investor, and I'm looking at potentially selling my property. And he actually was prepared to give me a discount from day one. And the property is in Cornwall, and this is one that I've actually acquired, so we can talk about this. It's all legal in my name, and so this is the property. And by all means, if you want to, you can actually look at this online. It's called Tincroft Cottage, and the website is tincroftcottage.co.uk. So with this property, it's down in Cornwall, and I always liked the thought of owning a second property in the UK. So something that was almost like a holiday home, or somewhere where we could go away in the UK quickly. Somewhere by the seaside. And so this came along, and believe it or not, this was actually brought to me by one of my mentees. And when he brought it to me, he goes, Arsh, it's valued, we've got a valuation on the market, we've got a valuation on it at 270,000. The guy wants 240,000 or somewhere close to that. I looked at it, I thought, okay, straight away, he's offering roughly around just over 10% discount. We might be able to squeeze him a little bit more to try and get 20%. But I said, well, and I said to him, well, just out of curiosity, where is the vendor? And he goes, well, in actual fact, the vendor is actually out of the country. He's moved out of the country, so he's actually based in Tokyo. And I said to him, okay, and what's happened with it previously? He goes, oh, well, he gave it to a management company previously who'd been managing it for the last 2 years on a guaranteed rent scheme, but now they can't make it work, and they've handed him the property back. And I thought, okay, this is interesting. I said, would you mind me getting on a conference call with the vendor? He goes, fine. So we had to arrange time, which was convenient for Tokyo time and also UK time. And I think we spoke late in the evening. I think we spoke midday, because midday here was 9 o'clock their time. Yeah, that was what's happened. They're 9 hours ahead. And so as a result, I said to him, okay, what's the scenario? Okay, we seem to have lost the guys on Facebook. So we seem to have lost the guys on Instagram. So let's just see if we can just add them again. So this guy, I spoke to him. I said to him, well, why are you looking to sell? He goes, well, I've got no intention of coming back to UK. The only thing that's holding me in the UK is this one property. Before it was occupied and it was working quite well. And then as a result, now this, hi Jamie. So he goes that now it's occupied. Now it's unoccupied. It's causing me a bit of reason for concern. I thought, okay. I said, if I was to offer you different options, would you be open for negotiation? He goes, at the moment, he goes, the way that I see it is that the property's empty. I'm worried of it being vandalised or something happening to it. I'm prepared to do something, so give me some options. So I went back to him and I said, I'll tell you what, I'm prepared to buy the property off you. I can give you a price where we can potentially buy it off you today, but that will be at a discount. Or I can agree a price where we can buy it off you within 10 years, but we agree the price today. And I will give you £1 to secure that option. And in the meanwhile, I will pay you rent. As a result of paying you the rent, that will be a consideration. And as a result, then I have full control of the property as and do what we please. And he goes, well, I wasn't really sure about that. He goes, I'd prefer to sell it today. So we made him an offer, and he was actually prepared to accept that. But in actual fact, I'm not sure if I actually wanted to buy the property right then in that location, because I think my money could work better elsewhere. So as a result, I spoke to him and we carried on conversation. We had 2 more conversations, conference calls, and then we put him an offer where we give him a guaranteed rent for a 10-year period, and I take control of the property literally by, through solicitors, and it was through solicitors, handing him £1. So that's now been registered legally, or it's got restriction on title, and as a result, we've now got that up on Airbnb, and it generates a very good income. So we decide when we go there. We decide when we go there. So we book out the weeks that we want. The vendor. It's not like a timeshare, because with a timeshare, the original owner still has rights to go and visit the property. They have no rights to go and visit the property. As far as everything's legal is concerned, I own that property. So we've structured it, and it's all done through solicitors, all gone through, and that's how I acquired the property for £1. So this is a property in Cornwall. So it's a property. It's tincroftcottage.co.uk. There's a website. Go and have a look at it. By all means, if someone is online and they actually want to book it, by all means, more than happy to have a chat with you. So there are deals like that. We do this on a day-to-day basis. Now, if you're on my email marketing database, you'll see, we've got 103,000 investors on that database. I'm not afraid to say that, because we sell property deals every day. On average, we sell around between 10 and 15 deals a week. So that gives you the kind of level and volume that we're doing. Now, Friday just gone, we negotiated 2 deals in Stoke-on-Trent in the UK. So these can happen anywhere in the country. So at the moment, we're talking about Cornwall, Porthcawen. Now we're talking about deals in Stoke-on-Trent. Now we've done lots of deals in Manchester, and so on and so forth. So in that respect, Stoke-on-Trent, we've done another deal where we paid the landlady her first month's rent up front. We've negotiated the deal with the rent. The purchase price is agreed today, but is then applicable in 7 years' time. In 7 years' time, hopefully, the property would have not only generated sufficient cash flow to act as a deposit in 7 years' time, but also the property would have appreciated in value in 7 years' time. And as a result of that, you win by not only the cash flow, which acts as a deposit, but also the appreciation in capital, which means that you're then buying it below market value, although the value is negotiated full price today. Does that kind of make sense? So I've actually, in actual fact, just give you a lease option masterclass, which normally they spend a weekend teaching you that. I've taught you in 10 minutes. So let's keep moving on. Let's have a look at some of the locations and some of the deals. So these are properties all over the country. We do deals all over the country. I don't think there's a single city or town that I haven't done a deal in. Bear in mind that I've been doing this nearly 20 years. Now, one thing that I am going to talk to you guys is very, very, very interesting. Is the reason why I'm going to be talking tonight. I've actually launched an app, and hopefully, if you're on my database and email marketing database, you'll see that in actual fact, it's called the Property Investor. So if all the emails that you're getting at the moment, potentially they will stop coming through within a very short space of time, because everything is going to be loaded onto the app. The app is called Property Investor. It's available on Google Play. It's available on iOS, Apple Store. Yeah, let's just call it Apple Store. And as a result, you can go and download it now on Google and Apple Store, and it is completely free for you to download. So all the emails, so just to give you an example, I'm just going to quickly show you how it works. It's called Property Investor, and you can find it on the App Store, and you can find it on Google Play. So when you go to propertyinvestorsapp.co.uk, you can view the properties, and these are all the properties that we've negotiated. So there's hundreds of properties on the app. And the reason why I'm talking to you about this on the seminar tonight is because this is going to take us now from doing deals over a period of time now to doing thousands of deals a year. So you can see we've got rent-to-rent deals, we've got HMO deals. You can see the kind of deals that we put out on a day-to-day basis: a lease option deal, another HMO deal, another rent-to-rent deal, another rent-to-rent deal, another commercial to residential deal. These are all online, and these are all here for you guys to have. When I say for you guys to have, you can buy them, or you can help me put some of the deals on there, which is what we're going to be talking to you about. Now, my projection for 2019 is very simple, is that we're going to do approximately 500 deals where average sources fee is around £5,000, which means that we're going to make around £2.5 million. And that's, yeah, it is okay. Yeah, you know, that's fine. Where no capital input has been required and put into any deal. All we've done is we've sourced, we've packaged, and we've sold the deal. My projection for 2020 with the interjection of, or the introduction of, the Property Investors app, we're now going to start to do 1,000 deals a year, which means that in excess of charging in excess of £5,000 a deal, it's going to take us now into £5 million plus. 2021, 2,000 deals too, because we're now we're going to start to open this out to you guys, and I'm going to talk to you about this shortly. You are what you do, not what you say you do. And that's a famous quote by Warren Buffett. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Just take that into consideration for a sec. Now, the reason why I'm doing this session also is because for the last 3 years, I've run a training program called the Elite Property Tribe. So the Elite Property Tribe is a 52-week online training session where we look at all the strategies that we've discussed tonight in great detail. So we look at deal trading, rent-to-rent, lease options, HMO, service accommodation, commercial to residential, development opportunities, planning gains, all the different styles of all the different styles of property strategies that you guys need to source all the different styles of properties. Now, we give you all the paperwork and contracts, so you get everything that you need to succeed with each of the cash flow strategies. You get all the contracts, you get all the checklists, you get all the profit calculators. I've got lots of calculators, spreadsheets, where all you have to do is put in some initial figures, and the computer will say yes or no. And so I don't spend days or weeks appraising stuff. I literally put numbers in, and it'll say yes or no. Arsh, I like it. No, I don't. Or maybe we need to do some further work on it. And proving sourcing templates too. Now, one of the things that is really different from me and other trainers is that I like to be by your side every step of the way. The reason why I do that is because I actually give you my personal mobile number. I actually negotiate deals for you. So I had a lady in my mentorship group, her name's Sharon. She's in a deal on the market at the moment, but the agent is being a little bit stubborn with her. So do you know what I did on Friday? I actually did a conference call with Sharon and the agent, and we're in the process of negotiating that deal for her. Now, which other trainer in the country will do that for you? No one, because no one's prepared to put their reputation on the line. But I actually help you through every step of the way. When we talk about mentorship and accountability, I'm always on the end of the phone. So you get my personal mobile number. You can book a call with me Monday to Friday between 10 and 1. You have my personal mobile number. Anytime you run into a roadblock, you pick up the phone. At the start, you'll be given a 52-week learning journal where you write down all your tasks and your outcome. I want you to write down all the phone calls that you made, who you spoke to, what you spoke to them about, what the outcome of the phone call was. And you'll also be allocated an EPT buddy. So we buddy you up with other members in the group so that when you're not speaking to me, you're speaking to them. So you keep yourself accountable as well. Every Monday evening between 7 and 9, we have a weekly training session and also a Q&A webinar for 1 year. You have access to an online portal called the Property, not the Property Investors app. It's called Elite Property Tribe, where it's got all the webinar recordings just in case you miss a session. or one of the live events. We have a shadowing day. Now, the shadowing day is really important. I give everyone the opportunity to come and spend a day with me in the office. And whilst you're in the office with me, you sit opposite me and I listen to your calls and I watch what you're doing. And as a result, we see where you are, where you are, and where you are, how you're speaking with agents, how you're speaking with vendors, how they're actually interacting with you, and seeing how that moves forward. Now, on the screen here is a guy called Curran. He joined the Elite Property Tribe in January this year. No deal trading, actually no property experience. He found a 4-bedroom house in Liverpool and negotiated 6 lease options in Doncaster, all in the office in one day. You know, I try and get a rule that you've got to do a deal whilst you're in the office with me. I don't want you leaving until you've done the deal. Now, normally, if you come and spend a day with me on a one-on-one, it costs on average around £1,500. So if you don't want to join the tribe and you want to come and do a day with me, it's going to cost you about £1,500 plus VAT. Now, one thing I should say is that with the Elite Property Tribe, not only do we have 52 webinars, so a webinar every Monday night, we have 4 meetups a year, so once every 3 months, where we have keynote speakers. You get access to all my proven templates, magazine leaflets. You also, when I say JV with me, everyone, if you're an EPT member, you get the ability to sell your deals to me, to my database. And you can speak to all the EPT members. Pretty much, I'd say about 90%, between 85 and 90% is the average of what we sell. So that's where we are. So we sell between 85 and 90%. I'm not going to say that we sell every deal, because that would be incorrect for me to say. There's some deals that we just don't sell for whatever reason. You get access to my power team. So it means that you can speak to my architects, you can speak to my accountants, lawyers, mortgage brokers. You get to join a thriving community of motivated property investors that are determined to change their lives just like you, who will inspire you with their success and share their experiences so that you can avoid costly mistakes and shortcut your success. I'll also tell you, there's a few things that you should never tell an investor about your property. When we say never tell an investor, we're telling them all the good things, we're also telling them all the bad things, but I want to make sure that you don't get cut out of the process. And I'll be showing you how to build a lasting relationship with your investors so that they actually become repeat customers for you, for your deals and your properties. So there's the 52-week agenda. So every Monday, there's a different topic that we talk about. Could be so one of the topics is about strategic financing. So if you want to buy your property, how can you do it where it's not going to cost you so much more money? So I bought a block of flats where, in actual fact, I put in 5% as opposed to 25%. And I did that with strategic financing. So it's not all about sourcing. It's about how to make you a more all-rounded investor. And that's what I want you to become, because every time you look at a deal, I want you to say, you know what, okay, I like it. Maybe I can buy it myself. If I can't buy it myself because I can't get the strategic financing in place, I'm going to sell it and I'm going to make a fee from it. We talk about rent-to-rent direct with the landlord, negotiating with the letting agent, the paperwork required, what to do, how to make it compliant, where to advertise it. So there's lots of different ways. We've got a learning journal where, like I said, it's literally a case of, I want to, at any point, I can call you guys and say, guys, can I have a look at your journal just so that I can see where you are? How many calls have you made this week? Who did you speak to? What did you speak to them about? Why? Okay, you spoke to them about that. What was the follow-up? Because this is a case of me keeping you guys accountable so that at any point I look at your learning journal. If you've made no calls for the last 2 or 3 weeks, I want to make sure that you guys succeed. That's the reason why I do that. The more deals you put, the more deals you get through, the more deals we put on the app, the more deals that we make collectively. So throwing you in at the deep end is the 30 deals in 30 days challenge. And this is specifically for EPT members. And it starts on Monday, the 3rd of June, 2019. So that's where we are. And in actual fact, anyone that starts and joins the EPT, the first thing that I do is that within the first couple of weeks is that we create a 2-day intensive. So we do a 2-day intensive kickstart, which is going to be held at the Jewellery's Inn Hotel in Birmingham. We do what to look for, where to look, how to quickly appraise, how to package, how to sell. So it's not like you're going to have to wait 52 weeks to learn everything. Within the 2-day intensive, I'm going to give you everything that you need to get started. And then we're going to expand on that knowledge over the 52 weeks. So hopefully that gives you an indication. So I don't want you to think, oh man, it's going to take me 52 weeks to make a deal. No, just so that you know, what's really interesting is that as the result of the introduction of the app, Property Investor app, I've now got agents calling me saying, Arsh, okay, I want to work with you. Now, and you can speak to other EPT members about this. I'm not going to have enough time for me to appraise all the deals and get them onto the app quickly. So what I'm doing is I'm saying to you guys now is that if you're an EPT member or an Elite Property Tribe member, the deals that come in from the estate agents that come to me, I will then pass them through and spread them around the Elite Property Tribe members, which means that in actual fact, I'm generating leads for you. What I need you to do is appraise it, make sure that it works, and make sure that everything works. And as a result, if we get it through, then you obviously make a commission off the fee. So the way that we work is a 50-50 fee. It varies between a 25 and a 50% fee, depending on who's generated the lead and what you've done in that process as well. Does that kind of make sense? So I'm going to be finding you deals, or agents are going to be bringing the deals to me. I've got agents calling me since the introduction of the Property Investors app. I've got people calling me saying, Arsh, I want to put deals up, but I will only distribute them through to Elite Property Tribe members. And as a result, let's just say that sort of deal comes through and we charge between 3,000 and 5,000 for that deal. You're going to be making £1.5 grand for a property that you've actually not even looked at and not even had to find, because I found the deal for you. You're appraising it and making sure that it works, and then we're going to put it on the app and we're going to sell it. Does that kind of make sense? So the full investment, so to the whole price, just so you know, guys, I made a bit of a mistake here. So we were going to increase the price for the Elite Property Tribe for June 2019, but I just didn't get around. I didn't get enough time to get everything done because I was concentrating on getting the app ready. That's me being completely honest. So we're going to keep the price as it is for this year, and then come January 2020, we're going to increase it. So the full price for this intake is 6,000. However, you don't pay 6,000 up front. You pay 3,000 up front, which is 50%, and the other 3,000 is then paid once you succeed. So let's just say that you just do a deal, and the other 3,000 you'll pay off in installments. So it's not a case of, okay, you've done the deal, now I want the other 3,000. I don't work like that. I'll say, guys, okay, do you want to pay a small percentage of that, and then go from there so that everyone makes money. The aim is that and with the Investors app is, the aim is that you're going to make money back a lot quicker because of the amount of deals that we're going to be getting coming through as a result of the app. So I only want people to work with me that are going to be prepared to put the work in. Now, there is an angle here as well. So if you haven't got the 3,000 up front to pay, you've got an option of either paying in one go or 3 installments as well. So I'll show you how you can do that. Now, the beautiful thing with me is that I'm a big believer that it's that, you know, you work with someone if you want to work with them, and if you don't want to work with them, you shouldn't work with them. I give 100% money back guarantee. If you join the Elite Property Tribe and you risk nothing because you're covered by 100% money back guarantee, and here's how it works. If you join today and you participate, you have to participate in the webinars, in the weekly webinars, and you have to join them live. If for any reason you're not completely satisfied after 30 days of joining, just send me an email and I'll give you a full refund. No questions, no asks, no hassles or forms to fill in, no problems at all. So if you'd like to join, there's a link on screen. So it's bit.ly/EPT 2019. EPT is capital letters 2019. And the first webinar starts on Monday, the 3rd of June 2019. Sorry, I put the wrong date there. So just to confirm what you're going to be getting, Ashley actually joined the EPT in Feb 2018, and as a result, he's done 4 deals himself, and he's bought his own buy-to-let with none of his own money because he used strategic financing. So not only has he made money from deals, he's made 20 grand in fees from deals, but also he's got a property that has not cost him anything to get involved in. So these, I've got Russell Boakes, he's actually based in Marbella, and he does deals all throughout the year. So he's actually based in Marbella. He's been with me since 2017. He's now gone on, so in January 2019, he did 2 deals within a week. He does deals all throughout the year. Now, my question to you, very simply, is that any of the people that we've talked about today any different to you? Absolutely not. We're all human beings. We've all got the right thing. And remember, the one thing that I've said throughout the whole process, it's all about your mindset. It's all about showing or following a consistent pattern or following a proven system. All they've done is that they've put their doubts aside for long enough to give this a try at no risk to them. And they've achieved unbelievable results in just under a month. Results that they've been able to replicate month after month. Just imagine never having to do a day's work for anyone else. No more boss, no more commuting, no more pressures, no more financial worries. Imagine having a business that actually fits around your family commitments and not having to miss your kids' plays, concerts or sports matches. Because what I've created, and I firmly believe this, with the app as well, I'm the only deal sourcer in the UK, or in actual fact, in the world that owns a deal sourcing app. An app where we can put up simply property investment opportunities. So I won't open this app to everyone and anyone. This is specifically for EPT members, and I'm giving you guys the opportunity to actually get involved in it. So in actual fact, I'm giving you a proven system to get started, where you get weekly training for a year, you get access to my power team, you get to join this supportive community, and the first payment is $3,000, whether you decide to split that in 3 payments or 1 payment. And you've got the link there, which is bit.ly/EPT in capitals, EPT 2019. And the one thing I will say is that everyone deserves the opportunity. Don't you owe it to yourself to give this a try at no risk, because believe it or not, it's covered by the money back guarantee. So try it for 30 days. If you don't like it, if you think it's not for you, all you're going to do is say, you know what, Arsh, it's not for me. And you go off and you do whatever you want and enjoy your life. And so, yeah, to join, it is EPT, bit.ly/EPT 2019. So what I'm looking to do is create, so Ben, if you can copy that link, it's bit.ly/EPT 2019. Or he says, can you put that in the comments box? Let me quickly do that for you. I'll put it in the comments box so that everyone can have it. So that's in the comments box now for you guys. And for the guys that are on Instagram, etc., I'll put it in the comments box as well shortly so that you can have that as well. So I'm going to go through, we're going to have a 10-minute Q&A session. So here's what you're going to be getting. You're going to be getting weekly training of the webinar to give you the skill set and motivation that you need to source, trade deals and flip properties. Access to an online property portal, so just so that you can see what the property portal looks like. So here's the Elite Property Tribe. Oh, okay, so that's the actual page that it looks like. So if we go to Elite Property Tribe, you'll see the back end of all the kind of stuff that we have and the documents. So you'll see we've got 3 years worth of webinars on there, which means that there's in excess of 200 hours of webinars. So if you look at, so we've got Feb 19, June 18, Feb 18, June 17, Feb 17 and June 16. So all these have got a minimum of 50 webinars in. We've got all the live meets, so you can watch hours and hours. We've got the curriculum, we've got the EPT Learning Journal, we've got all the documents in there that you need to get this moving forward. You've got the useful contacts. So this is there, so you'll get access to that. You'll have your own login details so that you don't share it with anyone else. And then keep moving on. I want to get through to some of your questions, guys. So bear with me. Let's get through to some of the questions. And so you can see we get the quarterly meets. You get access to the private WhatsApp group. You get access to my power team. And there's the WhatsApp group. So you can see we've got Elite Property Tribe WhatsApp group. Everyone's in there, and every day everyone's in there. And again, there's a platform. And then we've also got blueprints that you can follow on a day-to-day basis. So, and then again, finally, just download the Property Investor app. Even if you're not joining the EPT, it's a fantastic resource for you to have. So, okay, let's keep moving on now. So we're going to a question time. We've got approximately 10 minutes. So let's quickly, oh, we've just lost the guys on Facebook. I think the battery's just died off one of the devices. Apologies. So let's see if we can get it back on. So questions. Okay, so questions, right. Okay, so we've gone through those. If we would have questioned, we would have gone through. Okay, so it says, what is your sell rate? As I said, the sell rate is approximately between 85 and 90%. Okay. Do you do mentorship? We've talked about mentorship. Okay, right. So Sarah's asked a great question. She goes, how do you get estate agents to agree to do a deal with you? Now, you've got to remember, Sarah, we've talked about what their motivation is to do a deal, because they want to make commission. Now, if you, what it comes down to is how you frame it with the vendor, how you frame it with the agent. If you're going to say, well, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, and you want them to do the other, chances are they're not going to want to, they don't want to change their process. So you've got to work around them. But in actual fact, if you sell the benefits of what you can bring to the table, what you're bringing to the table, in actual fact, is a buyer. If you're working with me, you're in actual fact pretty much saying to them, guys, I've got this database. I'm working with this guy called Arsh Ellahi. He's got this database. And if you're prepared to work with us, we can find you a buyer where you're not spending a load of time having to advertise it on Rightmove and field calls. We'll do all that. We'll put it out on our app, which has got a dedicated investor database of 103,000 people looking at it. So it's a targeted approach. And as a result, you watch how many agents that actually say that they want to work with you. And these are agents that we're working with on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so let's quickly, okay. Let's just quickly, okay, someone said their phone battery's died, right. Okay, so Abina says, estate agents want to sell their properties for as high as possible. So how does getting the discount work with them? Now, it's an interesting question, Abina, because estate agents, yes, they work on a sales commission. So the more they sell it for, the more they generate. Now, the question is that you've got to look at also a couple of things. If that property has been on the market for 3 to 6 months, you've got to look at how much has that property actually cost the agent. So they've had to put it on Rightmove, they've had to put it on Zoopla, they've had to put it on the market, they've had to spend some money advertising, possibly in the local paper as well. Every day or every week that property hasn't sold, it's costing them money because they're having to pump more advertising into it. So would that agent now start to consider, well, okay, we haven't sold it at 100,000, but if we get an offer of 80,000, we'd rather make 1% of 80,000 as opposed to 100% of nothing. Does that make sense? Okay, so Will says, what percentage of your EPT students have done a deal with you? Now, Will, admittedly, I'll be completely open and honest with you, I don't know the answer to that, because a lot of EPT students also come across opportunities that they decide to keep themselves. I come across a student the other day. They've got a portfolio of 12 rent-to-rent properties that I had no knowledge of. He went off and he'd been negotiating directly with landlords, and as a result, he said, oh, you know, he goes, I think deal trading's great. He goes, but, you know, these opportunities just kept falling in my lap. And as a result, I'm going to keep them myself. You don't have to sell every property, by the way. You can keep the deals for yourself. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. So Darren says, do you need to be compliant before selling deals? Yes, you do. So, you know, there are a couple of things that we go through. Part of the training is how to become a completely compliant process. So you have to get registered with the FCA. You have to with HMRC. You've got to get insurance. There's a few steps that you have to do. They're not very hard to do. It costs you on average, I think it's about £740 all in all. Okay, so Ian says, is it better to work as a trader as an individual or limited company? Does it make any difference? All depends, because commissions that you generate are going to, over a period of time, going to become VAT registered. And so if you hit a certain level, then you're going to have to charge VAT for them. So in that respect, it's probably better to do it as a company. Okay, so Will, this is a fantastic question. Will, what in your experience makes the difference between successful people and less so? Drive and determination. Drive and determination. And people, the way that I treat property in general, not just about sourcing, but in general, property is a marathon. It's not a sprint. The people who come along and they sprint out of the ground and they think they're going to do 30 deals in the first day or the first week are the people that burn out very quickly. And I'm talking from experience here. I've seen hundreds of people. You've got to remember that we take, because of the amount of deals, we're going to be taking between 30 and 50 people for the intake. So I see people that come, get really excited, and then all of a sudden within a week they're burnt out because they've made shed loads of calls and it hasn't really worked for them, because that, first of all, they haven't spent time on getting educated. Second of all, they're saying all the wrong things, which means that they're not materializing the deals. So it all comes down to determination, passion, and it also comes down to taking things on board. You know, I've done this for 20 years. So when I say that follow the system, it doesn't mean make up your own along the way. It means follow the system. What do they do versus their attitude? What actions? I don't understand the question. Okay, Pancake says app does not allow you to sign up. Okay, so it should do. So you'll have to put in your email address twice. You have to put in your password twice, just to make sure that you haven't spelled it wrong. You put in your details and then you press sign up, and then it will send you a verification email to your email address that you allocated, and then you have to press verify, and then it'll allow you to sign up. Does that make sense? Okay, what do we say to the agent to agree them to do BNB or rent-to-rent deals? Believe it or not, it's a case of building rapport with the agent. Now, the one thing that you don't want to do, Jerome, is go in and say, hi, my name's Jerome. I'm looking for properties that you haven't sold, and I'll offer 25% below market value. Guess what, Jerome? You know how many times they've heard that week? They've probably heard it pretty much 10, 15, 20 times a day. You know, if you're some of the larger, like the Connells or the Connells or the Young Moves, etc., they hear this spiel, this script every day. And remember what I said, it's about building the rapport. And if you spend that time building rapport with the agent, they'll be able to speak to you and give you the deals that you're able to work with. Okay. Okay. Let's just have a look. I've sent the link. Can people outside the EPT get deals on your app? So Sarah, just so you know, we're specifically working with people on the in the EPT initially, and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay. When can we join the EPT? So you can join the EPT immediately. The formal training does not start until the 3rd of June. However, what you can do is start watching all the previous webinars and watch all the webinars that are happening right up to the 3rd of June, and then yours sessions actually start from there on. So I can't believe that these are all the questions that we've got. Are the properties on the app all ones that are still available? So Solomon, there are a couple that have been reserved, and we are going to take them off. But initially, the ones on there are available. Yeah. Okay. So lots of people said, awesome app. Yep, got it. It's great. I've seen the deals through the email marketing. Why does the HMO landlord that has full tenants do lease options with us? It's because of how we've proposed the opportunity, Anthony. And that's a key. The key to it is not, you know, people are prepared to do deals with us because they like us and like the way that we've proposed it. Okay, so I think we've pretty much answered all the questions, which are fantastic. I answered, okay, do members who joined in January 2019 meet other members in social events? Absolutely. So we always put all the meets together. So the quarterly meets, we get all the EPT members to join. We get all the EPT members to come. So on average, at any point, there could be anywhere between 100 to 200 members there. And it's a real good social event. It's like sometimes after the day, we sometimes go for some food. At Christmas time, we went to the comedy club. And it is a real community. It is a real community. So in that respect, yeah, there is. Okay. Okay, Sarah, she says we reserved something on the app. Waiting to hear. Sarah, I did actually try calling you, but no one picked up. And I believe I actually sent you a text as well. So Darren says, will you be able to build your own investor database? So yes, Darren, just so that you know, part of the process is actually teaching you how to build your own investors, so that eventually the point is that you sell your deals to your own investors if you want to. There's some people like Rahil, he's decided that I've only got enough time to source deals, so I'm only going to put them through. So he only wants to do 50% of the work. Now the other 50% is done by me by selling it. Does that make sense? Okay, no, so Will says the link is only for newsletter sign up. So, okay, let me just quickly clarify that. When you go onto the link, Will, there will be a pop-up. I'm saying Will a lot. So, so straight away, there'll be, when you stick this in, let's go to a new page. If I just copy the link there, straight away, it'll take you to my website. And as a result of going onto the website, there will straight away you can see that the pop-up comes up saying join the mailing list. You close the mailing list, and then straight away it's got all the details there, and you've got the two types of links that you can use there. Okay, so Will says, are you available for a quick call before you decide the word sign up? Happy for you to have a quick chat with me. I'll give you my mobile number in a second, and then you decide if you want to give me a quick call. Might be available for 5 minutes after the session, or if not, we can have a chat tomorrow morning. Happy either way. So I suppose on that note, let's just quickly go back to where we were. So on that note, first of all, let's say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to learn the secrets to deal trading, to trading deals. Hope you understand, and hopefully you could use this simple 3-step system to achieve your property cash flow goals. One thing I will say is that this is a system that no one else is offering. The reason being is that I'm actually feeding you leads. In actual fact, it actually feels like I'm paying you to come on the program, because the amount of deals that I'm going to be getting from agents, I can't actually physically do. So I'm going to put them out, and then as a result, you're then going to appraise them, package them, put them back up on the app, and hopefully we're going to sell them, and that's where the split works. So, in that respect, for me personally, when I created this program, I think it's a no-brainer. And then finally, there's my mobile number. So if you've still got unanswered questions, feel free to give me a call on my mobile. And that's how easy I am to get hold of. So as a result, you can call me, you can send me a quick email, and we'll go from there. Okay, so Roger, we've answered that. Sorry, I'm just quickly making sure. So Sarah, if you do want to have a chat, you can give me a call tomorrow on some of the properties that you've looked at and go from there. So Ian says, is there a possible to get a copy of the presentation? Yes. Okay, I'll get that sent out to you tomorrow. I'll get that sent out to you over the next day or so. Okay, so Will says, thank you, great stuff. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so Nasser, just so you know, it says, I'll send you a message, we'll start after Ramadan. Yes, we start Ramadan tomorrow. Remember, the program starts on the 3rd of June. So that's the first Monday, which means that you might miss a week. But remember, everything is recorded and uploaded onto the platform. So if you want, get yourself signed up, and then as a result, you'll get the access to all the documents and everything, so you can start watching stuff in the meanwhile as well. So guys, on that note, I'd like to say thank you very much for your time. Can't believe we've actually finished on time for the first time in a long time. And then let's go from there. And I wish you every success with whatever you decide to do, whether you decide to join us or not. And I wish you have a great rest of the bank holiday weekend. And I'll speak to you all very soon. Take care. Good night. God bless.